Smackdown moved to the USA Network this week, and with a brand new play-by-play announced team. Just who was on that team? Well, we're going to talk about that on this week's Smackdown review right here on WGS-TV. Hey, YouTube, are you ready for your hot tag? Because if you are, it's definitely time to work.
Hi, this is Buster Graham, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Greetings, YouTube. You have worked your way into another episode of WGS-TV right here on youtube.com/WrestleGamer. I am the WrestleGamer. Don't be Billy Bujo. Today is Friday, January 8th, 2016, and what we're going to be doing on this video today, guys and gals, is we're going to take a look at SmackDown as it made its debut on the USA Network last night with a pretty unique tandem on the play-by-play team. But before we get to that and even talk about it, let me introduce my co-reviewer on this video, guys and gals. You know him as the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio himself, Rick Head. Rick, how you doing today?
Well, I feel like shit. Aside from feeling like shit, I guess I feel great, but hey, you know, it is what it is.
Well, anyway, guys, on that note, let's go ahead and get this review started. Now, first thing I want to bring up when it comes to SmackDown is the new announced team that we have. Booker T is gone from the announced team, so I'm going to say that's probably a blessing in disguise. But now it's Jerry the King Lawler, Byron Saxton, and the debut of Mauro Ranallo. For those of you who don't know who Mauro Ranallo is, he was the English play-by-play commentator for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and well, it's one of the things I liked about him is the fact that he, you know, you can tell when a commentator, Rick, in my personal opinion, has a voice to do it. And that's what a lot of people have said about me here in Louisiana, that I have a voice to do commentary. And Mauro Ranallo definitely, in my personal opinion, Rick, has a voice to do commentary.
You know what? I have to absolutely agree. When I first listened to him, he kind of seemed a little over the top, but as I listened to him more, he was using a lot of technical terms. And I hate to say, I don't know if you guys would agree with me on this one, but he almost reminds me of a Joey Styles type commentator.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you on that assessment, because he was able to bring. That's one of the things that commentators are definitely in WWE has been lacking as of late, is the ability to project the emotion of the storyline, and Mauro Ranallo definitely has that down pat. But let's go ahead and get to the meat and bones of what happened on SmackDown. First off, the whole John Cena segment. First off, I was half expecting, Rick, for this segment right here with John Cena to be him announcing his shoulder injury issues, and it was not that.
Well, my guess is before he was diagnosed, or even before for some reason or another, WWE decided that now was not the right time. I guess maybe it's because it was the debut and they wanted to keep things on the higher ups rather than, down low. Obviously, it was announced, I think, within the same day, if not the day after. Actually, no, don't mind me, guys. I'm sick of the fucking dog tonight, so yeah, it was announced after the fact, so.
This would bring out Alberto Del Rio. They would do a whole little confrontation. And I don't know about you, but I think Cena may have put a little bit too much emphasis on Kalisto's name. It was almost like he was saying Kalisto, in a sense. I don't know if anybody else caught that.
When I listened to I listened to it again, and to a point, he was definitely being over the top, but I didn't notice it the first time around. I didn't notice it until you mentioned it.
Now, this would lead to a one-on-one match between Kalisto and Alberto Del Rio, and you could definitely have signs of WWE trying to push Kalisto to be the next Rey Mysterio. If they weren't doing it before, they're definitely doing it now, because he's basically being the biggest underdog in WWE right now, kind of like what Rockstar Spud is in TNA. But I gotta say this, though, the matchup was good in itself, and again, more signs of them pushing him as Rey Mysterio. Rick, look at the finish, the Hurricanrana Pin.
Yeah, it was definitely a great finisher. It was a great match overall, so gotta give it to them.
Now, once again, MizTV would once again get out of control fast. First off, it was the New Day coming out. Apparently, had some words for Chris Jericho. Then Dolph Ziggler. When did Dolph's hair grow out that fast? I have never seen anybody's hair grow as fast as Dolph Ziggler's.
It wasn't grown out. What happened?
Go ahead.
what they were doing the first time went around, they were trying to, like change his look a little bit. They kind of had him in that little ponytail thing, and then they decided to like straighten it out. So he almost reminds me of like an 80s hairband, like Poison or Guns N' Roses type lead singer. Maybe even Van Halen, because he has the logo, which is very similar to the Van Halen logo.
Yeah, and there's definitely one wrestler that definitely reminds me of that look, and that's Van Hammer. I wonder if a lot of people, go back to WCW and look up early '90s Van Hammer, and you basically almost see what Dolph Ziggler looks like today. Then basically just be a whole promo about the Royal Rumble. R-Truth came out and said, "You know what? I'm going to be the one to accept Alberto Del Rio's U.S. Open." I'm like, really? Okay, it was funny the first few times, but if they're going to have him do that every time he comes out, then it's just going to be monotonous, and it's going to lose its comedic value. But, again, it would just basically set up also an 8-man tag, New Day and The Miz taking on Goldust, Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, and Neville. I got to say, wasn't disappointed with the matchup itself. Ziggler would use the super kick on Miz to pick up the win for his team. Then after the match was over, thanked R-Truth with a super kick to the face and depositing Goldust over the top rope and reminding them that at the Royal Rumble it's going to be every man for themselves. So I gotta say, not a bad promo when it pertains to the Royal Rumble, but we definitely need to see more as time goes on. Now, the Diva... Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I personally was not impressed with the promo. I think MizTV has kind of run its course. As far as the finish of the match, you gotta wonder, are they slowly teasing a heel turn for Miz? For Dolph Ziggler.
I think he can fly both ways, whether he's heel or face, to be honest. I mean, he has that ability to do it. I mean, he's done it before. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have him do it again. And sometimes, a change in character, whether it be heel or face, might be best for him. Because some people can run better as a face, and some people can run better as a heel. And I think right now it's up in the air as to whether fans prefer Dolph Ziggler as a face or a heel. But maybe you guys in the comments can tell me what you guys prefer. Now, the Diva Championship on the line. Charlotte taking on Becky Lynch with Ric Flair there. And again, Rick, I gotta ask, how drunk was Ric Flair last night?
Well, to be honest with you, he probably was, looks sober, to be honest with you. Usually he doesn't have that big red face, doesn't act like a complete, buffoon. So I got to give it that, but I do want to mention something, and I don't know if a lot of people have kind of caught on with this, but there's been a lot of injuries of late, and right now, Paige is currently injured, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Becky Lynch who is, possibly... Oh, no, I'm sorry, Sasha Banks. Again, I'm fucking up tonight. Sasha Banks is out with an unconfirmed injury, or they're not diagnosing it anyway.
Now, however, it was for what it was. It's definitely a lot better than anything the Bellas could put on. But it was a championship match with a Flair in it. Of course, they're going to have a dirty ending, and well, that sounded kind of odd. But Charlotte would use the schoolgirl pin, and she would use the dirty pin style of it by putting her feet on the ropes. And something similar to what we've seen Ric Flair do for years in WCW is use that classic dirty pin to retain a championship, and that's exactly what Charlotte did, so she retains the Divas Championship. And like I say, somebody put a comment on the Raw review last week, Rick, saying that we were kind of being biased towards Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch because the crowd was chanting boring, but on the same token, it's definitely better than anything the Bellas could do.
Well, I'm certainly biased. First off, you gotta look at Sasha Banks. She's just sexy as hell. Not to mention she gives us a nice camel toe shot almost every week on Raw, so how can anybody not be biased?
You got a point there. You definitely got a point there. But when it comes to in-ring ability and in-ring talent, you gotta say that divas like Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Paige, they're heads above where the Bellas are right now.
Absolutely, and again, these are all ladies that come over from NXT, most of them, and they really have stepped up the game. I do have to be honest, though, it is slowly starting to get a little dull, so they really have to kind of mix things up or maybe even bring some more NXT ladies over.
The main event of Smackdown last night featured the Intercontinental Championship on the line, Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, and this matchup, guys and gals, did not disappoint. I think a lot of fans were wanted to see a clean finish out of this match, but in my personal opinion, Rick, I don't think that would have been the best move for them to do. If they really want to prolong a good feud out of Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, then they could not have had a clean finish on last night's SmackDown. And from the way the direction goes, one would say that the climax of the storyline between these two could happen at the Royal Rumble.
That's pretty much the way they're going. To be honest with you, the problem with this is when they have so many matches against each other, by the time you get to the Rumble, it's gonna be like, yeah, whatever, seen it before, been there, done that, you know. And the WWE, sometimes they're really good at holding off, and other times they're very, very bad. And I think this is one of those situations where it's becoming very bad, despite that they're both phenomenal wrestlers.
Not only that, but also can take into consideration the fight that transpired after the match was over. Both men would end up getting counted out, and then the fight was everywhere, and including the announce position, the staging area, and the fans. And then it kind of concluded in the tech area position, where basically Dean Ambrose just lunged himself at Kevin Owens, and they both went through several tables and stuff like that. I think I even noticed the Netgear modem. I'm not even sure why something like that would be there, but then again, I'm not a WWE tech person, so maybe it's got some usage, you never know. But yeah, that's pretty much how that kind of fight kind of concluded. And can one speculate, Rick, that, you know, if they do have a climax of the feud at the Royal Rumble, that it would have to transpire under a certain stipulation in the match?
Yeah, I'd like to see, you know, maybe like a last man standing type match, and I think that probably would be one of the better scenarios. You know, they could do a hardcore match, you know, but I really don't want to see that. I think a last man standing really would, you know, kind of make that climax more appealing.
Overall score on Thursday Night SmackDown this week is going to get a definitely 3.5 out of 5. I got to say, first off, I applaud the new announce team of Mauro Ranallo, Jerry the King Lawler, and Byron Saxton. And did anybody notice a bit of a heel turn from Jerry the King Lawler last night, especially when he came to the defense of the Flairs during the Divas match? Did anybody else catch that, or was I the only one that saw that?
No, actually, it was posted on several websites, and I kind of noticed it a little bit. My guess is either you could go in two different directions. One, you could say that Jerry Lawler is a good friend of Ric Flair, and of course he's just defending with his friend. Or you could say that they're trying to bring him back into that heel that really made him notorious back in the Attitude Era.
Definitely, and one would say that he could possibly pull off being a better heel commentator than Booker T or JBL could ever. Now, JBL during his initial run as a commentator, yeah, he could pull it off really good, but as of late, he's really just became dry and stale on commentary. So WWE, if you watch anybody's videos, you know, even mine, take that into consideration. A guy with 7 years experience doing commentary is telling you that commentary right now, and especially on Monday Night Raw, definitely needs a step up. Now, best match of the night, I'm going to give it to Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. I thought it was a fantastic match. And, of course, I love the post-match activity, you know, attributing to the whole feud, you know, that these two guys just hate each other. And I got to say, I liked it. I thought it was a good move, especially for the first SmackDown on the USA Network, let alone the first SmackDown of 2016. And also, I want to applaud the debut of Mauro Ranallo. Like I said, I've always been a stickler for good commentary. You know, and good commentary can, just like good in-ring female talent, really makes your product better. And Mauro Ranallo has the ability, especially from what we saw last night, to make the product better. And I'm really looking forward to future shows featuring him, you know. And I loved him on New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was an amazing commentator. And when I learned that WWE picked him up, I thought that was a good pickup, a lot better than Todd Phillips. And I want to say maybe a little bit better than Rich Brennan, but I think Rich Brennan is starting to come into his own style of play-by-play commentary. So I really can't make a fair comparison. And Michael Cole's just dull as shit. That's all I'm going to say about that. Worst match of the night. And honestly, I'm going to go to worst segment and give it MizTV because that thing was just utterly ridiculous. You kind of saw what they were doing coming a mile away. It was all going to be a big Royal Rumble segment, just like they did, I believe, on Monday Night Raw with the Big Show. Or was that last week? I think that might have been last week. But again, basically, MizTV has just become the segment they go to promote the Royal Rumble match and people in it, and that's pretty much the way it's always been. But it was still a little bit ridiculous. And give R-Truth new material. This thing where he comes out every week and basically forgets what he's doing, or if they've done something, then he says, I want a challenge for that, and when they've already done it. It was funny at first, but if they repeatedly do it, it loses its comedic value and becomes just monotonous with them. And I probably think that's one of the reasons why they dropped the little Jimmy thing from R-Truth. But anyway, Rick, over to you. Your overall score and your picks for best and worst match or segment of Thursday Night Smackdown?
I have to agree with you on both the best part and the worst part of SmackDown this week. The matches themselves were not bad for what they were, with the exception, of course, the Royal Rumble promo. And as far as MizTV goes, it's just a time burner, and it has. I just can't stand it. Every time I see it, it's literally a shit break for me.
Well, anyway, guys and gals, what we want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Thursday Night SmackDown this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of Thursday Night SmackDown? We definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. You should put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Rick, where can fans check you out on HWR?
Well, right now they can probably catch me on my couch as I'm sick as a fucking dog, but of course, I'm sure a lot of people don't want to see that. So if you'd like to see our podcasts, tribute videos, shoot videos, and so much more, you can check us over at youtube.com/HWR show. And if you want to join in the conversation, head over to the group section on Facebook under the name HWR Chat Room. We want you to say what you want, how you want to say it, because we are hardcore.
You're not the only one that's in the pain boat right now, Rick. Basically, my right arm is just pretty much useless today. WGS-TV is on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You guys can ask me questions. Links will be provided in the description box below. And as always, guys and gals, I'll have a couple of videos in the annotations, whether it be on this side or whatever, for you guys to check out as well. So with that being said, for the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, Rick Kidd, who I wish get well soon and hope you feel better soon, I am the Wrestle Gamer. Double People and Bujo saying we'll see ya at the next Work Zone. AB, you should really be honest with yourself, Koji. Now that you understand what it's like to work here, you don't have to force yourself. Next.